Hello everyone and welcome to Warhammer Online Return of Reckoning, the private server. After your request, we're going to be looking at today an add-on, a third-party add-on called Nerfed Buttons. For some, this is a mixture between macros and scripting. Some they feel is a cheat, some feel that it helps them a lot. That's up to you to decide. I'm just here to show you how this add-on works. Now, there's two ways to bring up this add-on. One of them is to type on your chat / nerf buttons space UI, and it will bring up this window. The second way of doing it, which is a much faster and better way in my opinion, is find an empty square in your bars down here, right click, and it comes up. This gives you automatically the sequence number, which basically gives you the number of the square, which is number 9 on this bar, to be saved. Now, Nerf Buttons is pretty much a sequencer. So if you press V to open your skills, you just drag any skill you want in there. So we'll do a little dot rotation so you guys can have an idea what we're talking about. So Acid Bomb, Incendiary Round for the Engineer. Also gonna add Signal Flare. These are some dots, Sticky Bomb. And we're also gonna put Firebomb because Firebomb doesn't have a cooldown. So this is a very simple sequence. Let's put them in random order then. Just going to click save on button 9, Nerf buttons, create, and it appears here. Now if we close this, dismount, and we target, I'm just going to put the mouse here so you can see. Acid Bomb goes off, Acid Bomb, only Acid Bomb. Strange. No, really. Acid Bomb doesn't have a cooldown either, same as the Firebomb. So if we take it and we put it at the end, and we save it again, let's see what happens now. So 1 dot, 2 dots. See, the dots are changing until they end up to Firebomb, but no Acid Bomb again. And this is a problem a lot of people come across. This has to do with the individual cooldowns of every single dot. So let's see this in a bit more detail. Incendiary Round has a 10 seconds cooldown. This one has 20 seconds cooldown. This one has 10 seconds cooldown, no cooldown and no cooldown. What the sequencer does, it throws at your target Incendiary Round and then goes to the next one. And then goes to the next one and to the next one. Firebomb doesn't have a cooldown, so it can't skip it because it's always active. It only goes back to Incendiary Round 10 seconds later when it's time to throw it again. But we want to use Acid Bomb because the debuff as first and then carry on with everything else. But it doesn't have a cooldown. What do? There's two ways of dealing with this. The first way is to add a condition. You add conditions by pressing the plus or the minus button. In my version, they are hidden for some reason, but some versions might have it. But if you move your mouse over it, it will say add check or remove check. So we're gonna click first the Acid Bomb and then add check. And here's a drop down menu. There's a lot of conditions that you can use. I'll show you a couple of ways of doing things. Keep in mind though that making a very big rotation, 10, 12, 15, 20 skills, it may be very difficult to do by applying all the conditions, and you might want to have some skills conditional like a knockdown, you don't have to put it on your rotation, a punt, you don't have to put it on rotation, or a stagger. Try and put little things that make your life a little bit easier than making trains or chains, very big chains. Because it becomes really difficult to play with it. So let's see how one way of removing and bypassing the fact that Acid Bomb doesn't have a cooldown. One way is to scroll all the way to the down and do a virtual cooldown. Once you select what you want from the drop down menu, you press plus to apply it and then click it to select, and you go here, virtual cooldown. Let's say we want a virtual cooldown of 8 seconds and save. That's it. So now when we click our target, first spell that you will see is Acid Bomb. He throws it, moves to the next one, to the next one, and to the next one. Now, as you can see, Acid Bomb is sticking for 20 seconds, 16, 15 seconds, but it comes up again, 8 seconds are up, and throws it again. So, in order to make this correct, you have to go to virtual cooldown, okay, and then see that this specific dot runs for 21 seconds. So you want to give it a 21-second virtual cooldown and save it. So now it will throw Acid Bomb, and after 21 seconds, it will throw it again. This way, you're making sure that you're not throwing double and triple spells, wasting your action points. And you can do that for any spell that you doesn't have a cooldown, or even if it does have a cooldown like this one, which is 10 seconds, you can still add a check, give it a virtual cooldown, and instead of 10 seconds, you can make it 15 for whatever reason you may have. It's totally up to you. Now, this is not the most efficient way of doing it though. Virtual cooldowns, it's good for other conditions. The best way of doing with dots or spells that have cooldowns is this. You add a check, and then you go effect. What you're doing here is you're going to tell the system when to throw it, regardless of cooldowns. So here it has effect. You drag again from here, not from here, from the main ability window, the acid bomb, so it gets the ID of the spell. How many times can it stack on an enemy? 1. There's some spells you can stack 2 or 3. If you have, for example, Slayer with the debuffs that stack 3 times, you put 3 here. So you want the system to check for 1 stack. You want it to check only for your ability, not other people's. Is it needed on the target? No. Who is the target? Enemy. Sorry, enemy. Duration, you can leave it free. Now, what we just told the system is, if I throw Acid Bomb on this target, okay, and then move to the next one and to the next one, it will not come back to Acid Bomb as long as the system checks that it's ticking is applied on your target. It will only bring up Acid Bomb again when, not when the timer is up, but when it doesn't exist on the target. So if someone was to cleanse Acid Bomb, it would instantly pop up on your rotation again, as it did now. See, now it's applied, it moves to the next one. So with effect, you're making sure that the specific dot is always applied. So here are some situations for effect. You throw it, the enemy dodges. It doesn't apply. The nerf buttons will keep throwing Acid Bomb until it checks that it's applied. One is applied, it will move to the next, to the next, and to the next. And that's how it works. Effect is a much more efficient way of doing this with nerf buttons. It might take you a while to figure out the minuses and the pluses and things like that. Also, you can use that to buff yourself. I'll show you a pre-made that I have here where it applies my buffs. So if I just press this, it puts my resist on, it puts my armor on, and then it straight goes to Firebomb because I have no target. Once I do, it goes there. It goes through the rotation, it's applied, goes to the next one, goes to the next one, to the next one. Now, if for any reason I am debuff from my resistance or my armor, on this rotation it will instantly jump to the one missing. So for this one, I've used effect as well. One, just self. It needs to be minus and on player, not enemy. So you play with friendly, enemy, and player, and you can make the conditions you want. And this is how pretty much all things work in nerf buttons. The important thing is for you guys to spend a little bit of time and check some of the abilities. So here you not only can add abilities, you can also add potions. For example, I could skip, we'll take some action point potion, I can put it there, and then I can add a condition to it and say action points. So when I have, out of the 250 action points, when I have 150 action points or less, drink a potion. Be careful, because this will always check how many AP you have, and then it will instantly drink it. Is it good to have potions in the rotations? Maybe. What happens if right now, let's say you have 150 action points that we set, and the target happens to have 100 HP? Would you waste 1 second to drink it, or go for Firebomb and shoot him? I would personally go for Firebomb to shoot him, but Nerf Buttons doesn't know this. Nerf Buttons will just follow the sequence. That's why you shouldn't make long sequences. And always have, I have like here, I have my sequence there, but I also have it as a spell there. If I don't want to do something that's in the sequence, I do it manually. All this down here are all manual, right? I only have a small sequence for myself, just my buffs and a couple of dots, which I do on the run, and that's it. I don't have anything else on Nerf Buttons on my character except the dots. Everything else is manual. So there's a lot of things you can do. I'll show you a couple more conditions so you get the idea of how things work. Because if you have a melee class, for example, let's say you have something like a Slayer that has an ability, or a White Lion that can only attack the enemy from the back. So you select that ability. This is an example here, and you add a condition which says ability enabled, and then it works the same way. You grab the ability, you put it there, and then you say it needs to be enabled. So if you have something like an ability, like I said, that hits a target from the side, activates only then, when you move your character around your enemy and you have it on your sequence, it will light up, and then it will automatically be used over any other ability. When you move in front of the target and the ability is not active, then it will be skipped. So you can use that. You can add here as many checks and conditions as you feel like it. For example, let's say for the acid bomb, for example, because the NG doesn't have any abilities that activate, we say throw it if it's not on the target. You can also add and say something like you can add a condition. Okay, let's apply a condition. So the condition, the person is debuffed, or the person is hexed, or the person is ailing. So you have a doc that uses ails. So you can activate abilities according to whatever conditions you add here in a sequence. Please keep in mind that if you're adding multiple conditions, they all go from top to bottom. So for example, here we should move ability enabled up there to say if the ability is enabled, check for the effect. If the effect is not there, then if the target is, let's say, debuffed, it needs to have the debuff, and it's an enemy, then use this. I can't really show you all the combinations because there's so many. I mean, you can have abilities activating when you're bunny hopping, when you are in combat. If you have a Slayer, for example, or a Chopper, use the career mechanic condition. So if you have rage, I don't know, 100% rage, and you need it, well, that ability will only activate at 100% rage to have maximum effect. There's so many conditions here that really it will take hours to go through all of them, but you can go through them really quickly and see what happens. You could use other abilities, use ability B if ability A is on cooldown. You could also choose an archetype, meaning that we can only use, if we use the archetype ability, that means like we can only use acid bomb. Sorry, I'm on the wrong archetype. So you use the acid bomb only on melee DPS. You may have some skills that you want to make a rotation specific against melee DPS, against ranged, and you just have to play with the condition. If you make any mistake, let's say we don't want the archetype, you just remove select check, and just remove them like this. Very simple. Again, my version doesn't have the plus and the minus button. Some versions do have it. I don't know why, but and this is how you go about making a simple rotation. The effect check is the most valuable one. Like I said, you may have career mechanics, Sorks, Bright Wizards, Choppers, Witch Elf, Witch Hunters, and so on. Conditions for specific things. And if you're playing a hybrid class like a Shaman or an Archmage, you can set up things to do on your enemy and things to do on yourself. So you could have some heals, some cleansing abilities on your DPS rotation to happen. But I want you to keep this in mind. The sequencer does not know how you play, so it will always follow the line in a straight line from left to right. So make sure that you don't get yourself in a situation where you want a DPS, but instead of that, you are healing or you are drinking potions and you're missing your kills. My advice is small sequences to make your life convenient. Don't expect to get nerf buttons and put everything in one line and just press one button and that's it. It will never happen. So that's how nerf buttons work. We'll show you one more thing. If you need to move, you can drag nerf button sequences from here to here. It doesn't work. If you right click it, it's empty. It's there, but it doesn't work. I'll select the target, show you. It just doesn't work. It just does firebomb. That's it. That doesn't work. The way you move the nerf button sequences is like this, because you might make a mistake or you save it here. So you right click it. This is sequence number 9 under the unknown of nerf buttons here, number 9. So we want to move it here on this blank one. What we do is we right click and we learn that this is sequence number 31. This is 31 box, this is box 9. So we want the 9 to move here. what you do is you find 9, you load it, so that's the sequence from here, and when you press save, it gives you a number. You make that number 31, which is this square, press create, and now you have the sequence here. I'll show you on this target. See, it moves, you have it here, and you also have it over here. If you need to delete one of the two, I want to delete this one, just right click it and press delete. And that's how you move Nerf baton sequences on your bars. You can click and drag them. So right click, get the number of the box, and then save it. First load the one you want. We want number 9 again, I'm showing you. Load it to come in, save it on 31, 32, whatever it is the box you wanted, and it just appears there. You don't like it, delete it, and you're done. Right click, delete, it's gone. Well, that's how Nerf buttons works. I think I covered most parts of it, and that's the basics of it, just the effects and everything from the list. Play with it. If you have any more questions, feel free to visit me on my Twitch channel. Maybe I can help a little bit more there. Like I said, I hope you're finding it useful. Thank you very much for watching.